What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another bite-sized tutorial. Today we're going to be learning about how to pick up an object in your scene, and it's actually ridiculously easy. You only need a couple components from the logic section, and that's about it. So with that being said, let's just dive straight into it. Cool, so the first thing you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to make two of the same sculpture. In this case, we want Charlie to have a sword in his hand, so I've made him a little cylindrical thing, and I've made two copies of the same thing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to want to scope it into Charlie's hand. We can do that by holding R2, moving into the desired body part, holding L1 and pressing X a couple times. Now once that's done, if we go into play mode, we can see that Charlie will be holding the sword no matter where he goes, which is exactly what we want. That's perfect. Now back in edit mode, we're going to want to use the second sculpture, and we're going to want to place it somewhere in our scene. In this case, we're going to place it in this little sword holder pedestal thingy majiggy. And then we're going to make the one that Charlie is holding set to invisible. So we just want to scope in a couple times. And under the physical properties tab, we can turn off the visible and the collidable. Cool. Next, we're gonna wanna put a microchip in the scene's object, and I have one set up right here, so we can just go ahead and put that. And just to show you how easy it is, these are gonna be all the components you need to make it. Just like that. It's just as simple as making a button from the first video we did. Cool. So the trigger zone, we're just gonna want to put that around where Charlie will show up. So around here, that looks good. We're gonna want to set it to tag, and we're gonna want to set it to Charlie. So right here, this is the Charlie tag. We can go into our puppet, or whatever puppet you have, and we can just place that. Where'd it go? Here it is. We can just place that on the chip. Cool. So now every time Charlie steps around here, we're gonna get a little cue to press a button, and that right here, we can do that with a text displayer. So whenever Charlie enters the trigger zone, it's gonna play this text displayer, and it's gonna say square to pick up. Now the next thing is that we're gonna want to use a controller sensor, and with this, we're gonna want to use the output of the trigger zone into the power port of the controller sensor. Now this is very important, guys. Make sure you press L1 and square on the controller sensor. Go over to the important properties tab, and from possessable, switch it over to remote controllable. This way, when the player presses your desired button, it will actually work. And with that, we're going to want to press square, right? So we're going to want to use the square output and use it to power on the sound effect. And this sound effect is just going to play a small blade swing so that we know we picked up the sword. Next, we're going to want to use the square button to destroy the object. And the reason for this is that once it gets destroyed, it's going to disappear. And an added benefit with that is that the logic chip is going to disappear as well, meaning that it's going to cut down on your thermometer, which is a really cool bonus, I think. And finally, we're going to want to use a keyframe and connect it to the square button's output into the power port of the keyframe. Now, this is the most important part of the whole entire logic thing. You're going to want to press L1 and square on it, and make sure that it's set to keep changes. If you don't do keep changes, this will not work. Now, if we go ahead and record an animation with L1 and X on the keyframe, we can go over to Charlie, where we have his invisible sword. We can press square, go to the show hide tab, and then on the first one where it says preview invisibility, I want you to check that off. And now we'll see that Charlie's sword is back in his hand. So we can scope in a few more times, go back into the physical property, turn on the visible, and turn on the collidable. stop the recording. Make sure everything is working. And that's it, guys. That is all you need to pick up an object in your scene. This is perfect for character progression. If you have anything in your scene that will make you progress in your scene, for example a key or anything, this is the perfect way to do it. So let's just go ahead and test it out. Right now Charlie doesn't have a sword, but when we get close to it, actually let me just fix something really quick, guys. Oh, it is fixed, I'm sorry. I just had to reset the scene. When we get close, oops, don't slide. It's gonna tell us that we can press square to pick up. We press square and boom, look at that. He has the object in his hand. It has disappeared from the scene, so it looks like he actually picked it up. How cool is that? Alright guys, and that's how you pick up an object in your scene. Thanks so much for watching.